It's Comedy Dish.
Co-starring Rick Wright and Stephen Allen Green.
Hey.
Hey, we never figured out who says hello first. I let you go this time.
Oh, okay. Because we could have sat there for 2 or 3 minutes just looking
Just
at
staring at each other.
other.
I've had some good news, but I want to hear what's happening with you. How's London? I read about the Notting Hill Carnival. I was on the phone with Earl Oaken in Portobello this morning. Telling me it was exaggerated, but
Well, that was interesting. Reading about that because that when I made my first trip to London in 2000, and I was staying at your house when the Nottingham Carnival was going on, and I remember I'd had a I think I'd worked in Manchester. I worked the Frog and Bucket that weekend, and then was back in London. I was exhausted and was hoping to take a nap, and then this extremely loud reggae music is just playing on this float that's going down Latimer Road, and
actually, it's St. Anne's Road,
yeah,
even though it's a Latimer Road tube station. I think it changes into Latimer Road, but
yeah. So so I just said, okay, well, I guess I'm not going to nap today. But
no, I
was
mean,
from your window.
no, absolutely every Edinburgh. And I've been up there 7 times. Every Edinburgh, back at my flat. Although I didn't have my flat in '95, so I've been up to Edinburgh 95, 97, 99, and then 2000 with the first High and Laughter brought you, and then in 2002 the Jerry Lewis one man show, and then 2004 was my last time up there. But every time I've gone up there, I've experienced the same thing. And it's the parade. It's like a parade, but it's not. And St. Anne's Road isn't an official parade. It's just, I think what happens is everyone's getting off the Shepherd's Bush tube and walking to Notting Hill and then making a left. I think it's Lansdowne Crescent. Maybe not Lansdowne. It's a crescent.
Yeah,
which leads.
I know which crescent you mean, yes.
Yeah. And that was my daily walk, by the way, to Notting Hill. And we got a comment. Oh, it's Dante. I was just thinking of you, Dante, because I really enjoyed your video. I've invited him. He just he says, "I'd love to. Let me talk to my manager." Then he hangs up, and then he gets confused because he is his manager. But Dante, seriously, we'd love to have you on. So at some point, maybe this show too, maybe a little later. We got our guest, but yeah, the Notting Hill Carnival. I love it. You get all this. First of all, there's like 2 smells that go throughout the festival. There was 2 million people there. There's the jerk chicken that's barbecuing outside and all these little stands is fantastic. And Earl was saying how much they're charging now, up to 10 to 15 quid per plate. Anyway, there's that, and then all the marijuana and hash that's being smoked. And it just shook my flat. These big speaker trucks that go by and go, my flat shaking. And
didn't know that reggae music could be so loud because that's what I remember. It was just
right. Yeah, no, it's beyond. It's not just reggae, but it's it's an Afro. Most people in America and around the world probably don't know is that Notting Hill, although completely lionized in the movie of the
right.
What is that word? Eponymous. Yeah, with Julia Roberts and Hugh Grant. I was on set and I was extra, but I didn't make the final cut. But when it's what that film did was it energized the whole neighborhood, sent property prices skyrocketing.
Yeah,
that's where I made money and some of my money, and but it gave a completely different depiction of Notting Hill. Now, Notting Hill's gone through a lot of changes. There was the 1950s race riots, and with the squatters, the famous Frestonians. I'm trying to make a movie about. in 1977, right where my property sits, where the abandoned buildings, and all those artists and hippies and musicians and actors lived there and created a nation. And it's a whole great story, which is a film I would love. That would be the first feature I would direct.
Well,
Absolutely. But anyway, let me tell you what's been going on with me, and we should bring on our guest. We had another really great real comedy stories.
the passing of one of our first guest to not be with us anymore. We had
we didn't talk about that yet, did we?
Yeah, we had Michael Dane on the show a couple of years ago.
Oh, Michael Dane, but we talked about Perry, right?
We did a whole show about
we
Perry
did a whole show last week about Perry, right? But Michael Dane, one of our previous guests, he passed away.
Yeah. Life was tough for him. He just kept finding a new place to live, but it seemed like he'd kind of settled in Minneapolis. But he'd been to New York a couple times, and to San Francisco, and to LA, and to Denver, and just it was a very vagabond life, and I guess he was orphaned at a pretty young age. So things were always difficult for him, and just seemed like the last couple years I lived in LA, he was going from one crisis to the next, and
yeah. So, well, listen, I can speak to this personally. I didn't sit there all day. Like, this morning I bought a few weeks ago, when I had the voice money, I spent $75 on an army jacket that was advertised online. It came from China, and I've got mostly good stuff. So it arrives the wrong size, the wrong jacket. They won't do a return. Finally, I make a complaint to my bank, and I complained to these vendors. Anyway, they reversed the charge, and my bank gave me credit, and then my bank took credit because they reversed the charge. I woke up this morning, and a big chunk, that $75 is gone from my bank account again, which not only means I don't have that money, but it means I now have to go down to my bank. Anyway, what I'm saying is that, in answer to your point,
banks suck.
Banks suck, but both my parents struggled to keep jobs, and we moved around a lot, and we didn't have money all of a sudden, and I was packing a bag to move. And then they eventually became entrepreneurial millionaires like 20, 30 years later. But there have been periods of my life when I made a lot of really good money and I was responsible with it. And there are periods when I made no money or very little money. And I think, just speculating here, but I think growing up as a child where you didn't know whether you were going to have a home for the next year, or you're going to be moving around and having to change schools and cities just for economic reasons. Look, a lot of people in this country go through this, so make it you develop the ability to adapt, but you also, I think it's kind of studied, you also develop patterns of insecurity, monetary insecurity, that makes you, like someone like me who's risked a lot of money on things, on big shows and traveling to England and all that stuff, and I guess the
residences in 3 different cities. So,
well, I didn't. Yeah. Well, okay. So let me clarify that. I never paid rent or mortgage more than once a month. At my New York place at the Chelsea Hotel, I always rented that out when I wasn't there. And in LA, it was my mother's guest room. So, I paid mortgage on. Only time I had a mortgage was in London, and but the thing is that I was talking to Earl this morning, and we were talking about money, and that's why I'd like to get Damien Dante on the show. Though I'd like Damien to join us too. Is I have a lot less money this morning than I had yesterday, and I'm waiting for some money to come in, and I'm going to be Ubering soon again. Not
right, you got so.
Yeah, I got the grants for the car, so now it's just a matter of you getting the car. But in any case, and I'm very, very pleased. I'm going to talk about that later on another show. But my point is that I started to doubt myself again when the money drops below a certain temperature,
Hmm.
I start to doubt myself really severely. Am I talented? Am I crazy? Am I playing a game that no one can win or I can't win? Um, and then day job. Okay, so what day job do I do now? I go back to Uber. Am I going to sell myself as a writer? What do I do? So my only question is have I been a success? And am I still on the right path? Because it's like doing stand-ups like a rich guy golfing. You know what I mean? It's like there's no money in golf if you're a rich guy unless you're betting.
Yeah,
And
unless
so
you're
you're just
a professional golfer. Yeah. So,
exactly. So I'd like to maybe discuss this money thing. Dante, if you're back, message me or just post that you'd like me to send you the link. Let's bring on our guest. And by the way, I look, I'm fine. I got some good things happening. Good things happening. I just don't want to take up the show talking about me. So let me like I've never done that. All right, Facebook, refresh thyself so I can read the proper intro. Facebook. There you go, Facebook. All right.
okay.
So our guest today is an old friend of both you and me. From the old days of the Comedy Store, this is officially 1982 to 1992. Carl Edwards performed with the late Peter Marshall. Was featured in Robert Townsend's The Five Heartbeats, great movie, played the MGM Grand in Las Vegas, and now lives in Mississippi. Please welcome Carl Edwards. Fritz, is it Fritz? Are we calling you Fritz now?
Nah, Carl Edwards.
Yeah.
What's the Fritz part? What's that mean?
That's my real name. That's my last name.
So Edwards is your middle name,
Yeah,
or is it Edward? Yeah.
Edwards.
Oh.
Yeah, Edwards is my middle name.
Okay. Yeah.
And I am broke, so that's okay.
But yeah, I think that's yeah. Well, at least if you're in Mississippi, the cost of living isn't too high. So
It's
you
very
probably,
good. It's
you probably have a palatial estate that you're paying a couple $100 a month for. But
oh yeah. I'm in some of the wing. I have a bungalow.
okay.
Really? I love bungalows.
It's really nice. I mean, it's on the street. It's a really small street, and there are people that are older, living on the street, and it's very quiet.
Does everybody walk around and talk like this? Hey,
Huh?
Carl, how you doing
No,
today?
they
How's that
don't.
Yankee from Hollywood?
I have to
He's
go
from
outside.
Hollywood. Huh?
No, they're really cool. They're cool people.
Yeah. Which
One or two.
which city are you in?
What?
What's
city? Oh, I'm right between Pascagoula and Biloxi.
okay. Yeah.
Biloxi used to be a really hot town.
I worked Biloxi, one of my first road ventures as a solo act, and I worked this casino that was very interesting. It was on the water,
Right.
so but it overlapped the water, so they could actually have the casino over the water because it was out of the state.
When they first started. Yeah.
And then that particular casino was completely destroyed by Katrina.
Which one?
Whatever one was right on the water, because
Treasure Bay.
I think that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I
worked
was
at,
here for Katrina. It was,
yeah. I was because I recognized it just when the overhead photos I said, and they said a casino, and I just said it must have been, because I just remember how intricately the slot machines and the tables were positioned so that they were out of state line.
I think it's a certain distance from the beach itself. So yeah, and they all landed up on the ground. Or the
So
barge.
what do you do with your time there, Carl? Are you still performing?
I'm retired. I just do things. I had for about 20 years. I had a tuxedo store, and
Really?
Yeah, the Formal Affair in Gaucher. I live in Gaucher, Mississippi.
So you lived in Mississippi most of the 21st century, then?
Yes, I did. Yes, yeah, because I left.
Let me ask you.
Oh,
sorry. Go on.
I left the Comedy Store in '92 to go to the MGM to do the Three Stooges show, and that closed. And then the rest, I kind of don't even think about. And my mother passed away. I went back to live with my dad. Had a great year with my dad. He passed away. And my sister lives here.
Sorry.
She packed me up and said, let's go down there for a while. And I started working at the store, and I was performing for all the high school kids, and all the people would come in, and I do shtick for them, and they loved it. And I loved it because I had an audience every day.
Where was
And,
this? Was this in the old days before you came to LA?
No, this is in Mississippi.
This is just recently.
Yeah.
Oh, recently.
Yeah. And so when COVID happened, they closed the store. We closed the store, and we were old enough to retire, so we just liquidated everything and retired. And
Your sister's still around then, right?
yeah. Oh yeah. But it's fun. We can go to the casinos if we want to, but I don't gamble anymore. I don't smoke
Oh,
anymore.
you're doing this show. You're doing this show. That's a gamble.
I tell you. Yeah. No, that's I just wouldn't have thought someone, living in LA all that time winds up in Mississippi, because a lot of the LA people moved to Texas, but Mississippi just didn't seem like the destination. But then my first 10 years living in England, I was living in a town called Dagenham, which
didn't they have a big block fire yesterday? I was reading.
Yeah, it was just like the Grenfell Tower, but nobody was hurt, thankfully.
Good. Good.
But yeah, it was. I saw where it was. It was nowhere near where I lived in Dagenham. Dagenham. They all take a rope.
Open Hagenham.
I was in London.
Carl,
before I came to California. I mean,
I'm sorry. What?
I was in London during the early '80s. Before I came to the Comedy Store, I was on the USO tour, and we took a train in from Mildenhall to London, and we had the best time. I mean, it was just Trafalgar Square and big.
Oh yeah,
it was wonderful. I just loved it. And Mildenhall was cute.
Yeah, once I moved here, I was like, thank God, because I lived in Dagenham, Essex, because I was married to an Essex girl, and she had a son, so we couldn't really move into London. But as soon as that was over with, and I moved into a great situation. I live in a really nice place in North London, and it's accessible to all the places that I want to work. In particular,
would you say, by the way, Brian? I hate to interrupt your conversation, but would you say, by the way, your ex is your X SX S XSX.
Yeah. Well, because X sex,
XX XS.
That's a game show. We're doing a game show now.
It should be. Well, Brian, I lived in not just Notting Hill, but I lived in Chelsea in a houseboat. Both two fucking posh places. Any right-minded Brit would absolutely fucking call me a wanker. I remember when I moved to Chelsea and I started reading about the wankers that the punk rockers and Elvis Costello and all those guys, the Clash, putting down people who lived in Chelsea. And I said, well, it's a nice area. I could afford it. Like the houseboat.
Today's Elvis Costello's 70th birthday. So
really,
I only knew that because I happened to have BBC Radio 2 on, and they were playing a bunch of his songs. So
yeah, there you go. That's what's great about the BBC. So, Carl, when you were in London, you were doing this USO tour. Was this doing comedy on a USO tour?
Yeah, comedy, singing. It was a small tour because we went to like Northern Ireland at Easter. Not a great time to go to Northern Ireland.
No.
We went to Germany, Berlin, and it was great. It was great. But getting back to why I'm here, when I left Vegas, it was like I wasn't doing well, and I was almost, that you feel like I'm not ready to go. I don't want to go back and do it all over again.
Yeah. So, I understand that. It was like when that last marriage broke up, I was kind of on the fence of, do I go back to California or do I and I actually looked into New York as the next possibility. But I just remember walking around and seeing a couple comedy clubs and saying, no, I'd have to start from too far down to really get into this. And so, yeah, that then, just things happened that made that marriage broke up in 2009, 15 years ago. But I'm still
Was
here.
that the wedding? Was that the one that I went to that wedding?
When you went to the wedding for me and Stephanie, and that was that's the weird thing. I thought that was gonna solve all my problems. The final.
You thought
piece,
getting married would have solved all your problems?
well, I thought that's the final piece of the puzzle because I want to move here anyway. So by having a wife,
well,
but it turned out that didn't matter. I could have qualified to stay here anyway,
How?
just because
How?
I'd been on work permits for 7 years. So, and that was when I was actually getting the indefinite stay. I mean, I've still been saying to my quiz night audiences, if Trump is elected somehow, I will become a British citizen, and I'll go that.
Well, this has been on my mind, by the way. I keep saying by the way because I feel like I'm just interrupting two people. You know what? I'm gonna go feed the whales. I have a collection of whales in my backyard. I'll let you guys talk, okay? Take care. See you next week. Bye.
Okay.
Is he really going?
I don't know.
No,
I'm not really going. What the fuck's wrong with you?
No.
Oh, there you
I'm
are.
joking.
Oh, you sneaky.
But we have had a couple. We had a couple of those moments where the guest was an asshole. You're not. So.
Okay, good.
I'm the asshole.
But to go back and start all over again I wasn't ready for that because Vegas wasn't good for me, and that's another story for another time. But
how long were you there?
I was there for 10 years.
Oh shit! Yeah, that is a long time.
Yeah, I mean, the MGM was great. I did the MGM. We did the theme park. I ran into Michael Jackson, talked to him. I was lucky, and I worked with Debbie Reynolds at her hotel. I would work every weekend and do a comedy show with her and Jimmy Caesar, very famous comedian, and that was fun. But to get back to work was not, in the cards for me.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of people from our old days that live in Vegas now for a variety of reasons.
Yeah.
And
there's a lot of comedy in Vegas. There's a lot of small rooms and everything. And
I did Harry Basil's Tropicana room I did it 4 times total. But I was already living here, but I made enough from that plus the other gigs that it actually paid for the whole trip. So, but I don't know. I remember when the last time I did that room at the Tropicana, I just remember thinking with each show, okay, 1 down, 13 to go, 2 down, 12 to go. And that's when I started thinking maybe I don't want to do this full time, because coming to England added 10 years to my career. I was working a lot for about 10 years over here, and then I just said, you know what, I'm not interested anymore. So I found quizzing as the alternative. Quizzing and DJing.
Well, speaking of quizzing, where are we doing the pub quiz from?
I said specifically so
we want to talk about the Comedy Store for a little while.
We're definitely going to do that.
Yeah. And Peter Marshall and things like that.
I want to
Carl, you're our guest. Sit the fuck down, back off, and just do what you're told. Quit trying to direct this fucking show. It has no direction. I'm joking. What pub are we doing this from?
I do want to hear about, because you did that whole gig with Peter Marshall for several years, and I remember that's the first time I ever saw you. You were on TV,
right? And we're still on YouTube.
Hopefully, you're still getting residuals from that.
No, it was the variety show. We don't get anything, but it's interesting to watch. That was in the 70s when we did the variety show with Peter Marshall. But I worked with Richard Page, for Mr. Mister. I worked with Monica Mancini. I worked with Avery Summers,
So
and Dale Verdugo.
but
And
was
Pete.
Monica Mancini related to Henry?
Yes, we used to rehearse in their house, and that was a thrill. I mean, that was pretty good. That was pretty good. And then when after that one finished, I went to the Comedy Store and had a great time with you guys.
Oh wow, yeah, 82 to 92. Well, I was there, so
I was selling plants. Can I tell you how I started at the Comedy Store?
yeah.
I will. Okay. I was working at a plant shop in Hollywood, in West Hollywood. And Mitzi came in to buy some plants for her house. And the owner knew her real well. And he says, you got to meet Carl Edwards, and she had seen me when she was with Elvis, when Sammy and Elvis,
Oh yeah.
she kind of knew me, I mean, she didn't, wow, I know you. But she was really cool. She says, well, come down to the Comedy Store tonight and do improv and see what goes. And I went down. I couldn't wait to get down there. And did with Brian and everybody from, and everybody took me in. It was great. And she said, and somebody came over and said, Mitzi wants you to work the door at Westwood and, work out there. So then Sam Kennison was working there. And so that started that whole thing. And then I started doing impressions and.
Yeah. So that
I'm 78 years old. I don't land everything at the same time.
Right. That's exactly right. So
That's
that means
worse.
we've got to, Carl,
Yes.
I'm one of the co-hosts.
Okay. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Show some respect, please.
I'm sorry. What was? Did he say something derogatory? I missed that.
No, I'm joking.
Yeah.
Let's do our pub quiz.
All righty.
Okay, pub quiz. This pub quiz, and we have 3 of these pub quizzes. And the way it works is Brian is the quiz master, and we're doing this in a particular pub, virtually. So, what pub have you chosen today, Brian?
The Winchester Hotel on it's on Archway Road. I think it's Winchester Hotel.
It's a hotel, not a pub.
It is a hotel that has a pub in the downstairs, but it has a hotel upstairs. I'm pretty sure it's called the Winchester.
All right, I'm just Googling it now. Yeah, I got it. It's a pretty pub.
Okay.
Let me bring her in here. Okay, we're now at the Winchester. Let's take a look at this pub. This is a beautiful looking pub. As a genuinely independent free house, we aim to offer. By the way, free house. You know what that means, Carl?
No.
I don't know.
Oh, you don't know either? A
I
free
don't.
house. Yeah, a free house means that they are not sponsored or controlled by any brewery. A lot of the pubs are sponsored by a particular beer, right? So as a genuinely independent free house, we aim to offer all that is great about a London boozer. Brilliant drinks, a lovely team, and a great atmosphere. We look forward to welcoming you.
Waiting for you to get an English accent there.
Thank you.
So-
Well, it's located between Highgate and Crouch End. I tell you what, when I moved back to London, I was just on the phone about that. I'm gonna run a comedy night here if they don't have thing going. So let's do our pub quiz. Should I get rid of the win? Let's stop sharing that. So we'll just do the regular guys. All right, 3 questions. First person with the answer, shout it out even before the question ends. 1 point per question. 3 rounds. Let's begin.
Okay. The first one, currency is the category. What U.S. government building is featured on the back of the U.S. $20 bill?
The Library of Congress.
Let me think. I've been thrown out of better places. How about the White House?
The White House is the right answer. 1 point.
I
Ding,
know it.
ding, ding.
Yes, nobody got that one last night, but then they don't, they're English. So, okay. What South American capital city is an anagram for an African country?
City?
What South American capital city is an anagram for an African country?
Brasilia?
No.
Oh.
Okay, wait. Is this an African city or no?
It's
What's
a
South?
It's a South
Sorry,
American
I'm
capital
a bit distracted with people sending me messages right now. Repeat the question, please.
So, what South American capital city is an anagram of an African country?
South American. It's a great question. I wouldn't have a clue. What about you, Carl?
I no,
Well,
I have no idea.
you'll kick yourselves. It's Lima. Lima, Peru is an anagram of Mali. So, and
I did not know that.
you don't.
I did.
I did.
Worse than that. I don't care. Okay. I don't want to be humiliated. If there's money involved, Rick, and I'm calling you Rick.
Right. Okay. Let's go for the stupid stuff. Star Wars. What was Darth Vader's original name?
Henry Mancini.
Or maybe Boom Boom Mancini, the boxer.
Darth Vader's original name?
Yes.
Lorenzo Lamas.
Well,
Oh yeah. By the way, Carl, I'm getting requests from Marion Basford and Melissa Carey about you doing Ruth Gordon. Okay, Ruth Gordon. Do
Okay.
Ruth Gordon.
Do Ruth Gordon.
Do Ruth Gordon. Give you the answer. Damien Fitz got it. But what was his last name then?
Yeah, what was his last name, Damien? Wait, do Ruth Gordon as Darth Vader. Ruth Gordon is Darth Vader.
I'm your son. I'm your papa. Oh, crying! I can't think of it.
Yay!
Hey!
Okay, well, so we'll give you. Yeah, it is Anakin Skywalker is Darth Vader's name because he says, "Luke, I'm your father," and it turns out his first name was Anakin. So that concludes the first round. 1 point for Carl and no points.
Wait,
for
maybe he was also trans, because maybe his real name was, if Darth Vader transitioned from Darth Vader Anakin, from Anakin, it would be Anakin.
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 Oh,
If Darth Vader transition would be Anakin. That's a great fucking joke.
Yeah. Yes, because of kin and kinfolk and all. Yeah.
Oh God! All right, quit fighting me. What's the next question?
Well, I was going to say we're through with that round, but let's throw one extra one in here.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I don't mean to take over things like the Jew that I am.
I wasn't going there, but what the hell?
I went there for you.
All right. Here's a good one. Gambling.
Gambling.
How many total numbers are on a roulette wheel?
24.
More than that.
36.
22.
You've forgotten 0 and 00. It's 38.
That's right.
How would you know we forgot 0 and 00?
Because he said 36, and
I thought he said 26.
They're not numbers.
Numbers are 1 through 36, but they have.
I'm sorry. I thought he said 26.
And nobody else got that one last night either.
I don't know how I remember that, but
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that concludes the first round. It's 1 point for Carl and 1 point, I guess, 1 point for Damien because he got Anakin Skywalker.
He did. All right, so that's our first round. We'll be bringing that back two more times. And the prize is very big. The prize is huge. So Carl.
Yeah.
What?
It's a yacht. That's what it is, yeah.
It's a yacht. It's a picture of a yacht. So Carl,
Yes.
all right. So I remember you way back when. It's been just one of the funniest guys at the Comedy Store. And you were, I remember you did stand up and you did sketch comedy in the main room. Am I correct, Your Honor?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
The Monday Night Improv. Yes.
Monday
Yeah.
night. And who did you do sketch comedy with?
Oh, Joey Gaynor.
Oh, of course.
You and Joni, you and Joni, you and Joey.
Gaynor. Now
had a
he's Joey
team?
Gaynor. Yeah, you
Now
didn't know
he's
that.
Joni Gaynor. No, I didn't know
Next
he was
question.
Joni Gaynor.
He and Dana Gillette
I remember that.
and Judy Toll
Yeah. Oh,
and yeah, because he would do. Joey Gaynor would say,
yeah. No, it was. That was.
we did a Blue Lagoon thing, and he
Yeah.
would play Ernest Borgnine, and I was Ruth Gordon, and he'd say, "Hey Ruthie, hey baby, come on, let's go skinny dipping. Hey, let's go skinny dipping," and I'd come back with, "Oh, skinny dipping, you big baboon." Mitzi was on the floor one night, and I walked around and I genuflected in front of her booth, and then went back up on stage, and she screamed.
In front of her?
Huh?
In front of Ruth Gordon? You knew Ruth Gordon?
No, I did a movie. I did Muggsy's Girls. Somebody that came to the Comedy Store said, "I'm doing Muggsy's Girls. Do you want to work on it?" So I got an extra job, and they wanted me to do a takeoff on Ruth Gordon for Ruth Gordon in one of the scenes.
Right.
And I got a chance to sit and talk with her for like 20 minutes. We sat.
Oh, wow.
And I said, they want me to do, and she said, "Oh, well, listen, that's not very good, but it would get in the way, but thank you so much, God." And she held my hand, and every day she would wave to me. And that was enough. That was enough.
So explain to our young people, Carl, explain to the people who are under 100 years old watching this show, who Ruth Gordon was as a character, obviously, but as an award-winning actress and all the great things she did.
Yeah, just
tell us about Ruth Gordon.
She played Mary Todd Lincoln in the first movie of Abraham Lincoln. She wrote a lot of plays and films. I can't remember some of those names, but she did Columbo, where she killed her nephew, and she invested. She's a writer. Wonderful thing. She was in Rosemary's Baby. She played the neighbor, Mrs. Castevet.
Well,
what a great role.
The role was Harold and Maude, I think.
And Harold,
yes.
And I'm walking home from the Are you there? Am I there?
Yeah, ringing it up. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I was walking back home from work one night, and Carol Kane was my neighbor. Was walking down Havenhurst with Bud Cort, and she says, "Oh, Carl, come here." And I went across the street. He says, "Bud, Carl does a great Ruth Gordon," and I did Ruth Gordon for him. And I thought it was
for who? For who? I didn't hear it. For who?
Bud Cort. For Harold.
Who played Harold? Yeah.
Yeah, I said,
it's L-I-V. I know who that is. So you wait. I know who Bud Cort is. So it's just hard to hear. There's just the connection is delaying it for me here. So you're telling me, this is the most fantastic anecdote I've heard in a long time. You're telling me that upon request by one of the greatest, if not the greatest character actors in television in the last 50 years, Carol Kane, knows you do a great Ruth Gordon, and happens to be walking down the street, strolling down the street with Bud Cort, who co-starred with Ruth Gordon in Harold and Maude, says, "Oh, my friend Carl here does a great impression." So you did on the street, wait a minute, on the street, a pristine, spot-on impersonation of Ruth Gordon for her co-star, Bud Cort. I can't think of a better credit than that, Carl. You win.
And it's true. It's true. How much do I win? I called my mother the next day. I couldn't believe it.
That's such a Hollywood story.
Oh yeah. I got a better one.
She already passed on by then?
Yeah. She might have. It was in the night. It was in the 80s. So no, she was. I think she was still
still
alive.
working with it at
Yeah.
that point. Yeah.
I was down on Santa Monica Boulevard one time with Yakov Smirnov's dog, Yeppy, from Crest Hill. And I'm walking by the dog groomers, and this car pulls up. Katharine Hepburn gets out of the car, and she goes, "Oh, what a lovely dog! What's his name?" And I said, "Yuppie." And she's playing with the dog, and I'm like, didn't know what to do. I didn't even know what to say. And I said, "It was nice meeting you." And she walked. She was going to a store to get some Christmas gifts for some friends.
Katharine Hepburn, you said.
Short story about her, yeah.
Was it Katharine Hepburn or Lauren Bacall?
No, it was Katharine Hepburn. I couldn't believe it.
It's hard to just go, "Oh, by the way, you're Katharine Hepburn, aren't you?"
I didn't say, yeah. I couldn't. But she was just like so cool. And this regular car.
Remember that Saturday Night Live sketch when Chris Farley's interviewing Paul McCartney? He said, "So you were in the Beatles, weren't you? Was that fun?" You know, he's completely.
What, Chris Farley?
Chris Farley.
Yeah, very funny. Very funny. You know, I used to meet a lot more of these, you know, the golden age of Hollywood film stars, since I spent a large portion of my childhood living in Beverly Hills. And you literally would see back then in the 60s, you'd see Lucille Ball walking into, you know, the Woolworth, or, you know, Danny Thomas going to the deli, and, you know, and it was like that. And you kind of learn to keep your distance. You know, I have kind of a rule, because I've run into a lot of celebrities in my day, not just in showbiz circumstances. And I never wanted to be the person that went, "Hey, I'm such a huge fan. Can I have an autograph?" So I always goofed on people. I'll tell you one story. I was on a date with a young lady I was in love with from high school. And we went to the old C.C. Brown's ice cream parlor on Hollywood Boulevard down the street from the Chinese. And saw a movie with the Chinese. And then we went to the ice cream parlor. And we're sat there at a table in this old-fashioned place with you know, they make their own hot fudge, and it comes in a
real
carafe,
small little storefront. Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. And George Siegel, who starred in this movie with Jacqueline Bisset and I forget his name, but the British actor, rather portly. Anyway, it was called "Who's Killing the Great Chefs of Europe." So they went to the screening too. It wasn't a screening; it was a public.
Cabot, maybe.
What? Not Sebastian Cabot. No, Robert Morley.
Okay,
good guess. And so we're now. So imagine this: we're now sat at you know, on our date, eating our ice cream, just seen this movie, and one of the stars, George Siegel, with what looked like his wife and young daughter, or boy, I don't remember, came in and sat near us. So we're like, "Oh, hey, look who's over there." Well, they must have just seen their movie. Yeah. Oh, wow, cool. So I wanted to just tell him how great he was, and we just saw him. But I did something different, and it's one of the things I'm proud of. Yeah, I know. You think you know me. You know the Stephen from years ago. Yeah. But actually, this was years ago. So I grabbed a pen and a piece of paper, and we paid our bill, and we walking out. We had to pass them because they're right on the way to the cash register. And I went to the table, and I went, so I had the pen, and let's say I have paper. I can't find it. Sorry for interrupting. I'm just such a huge fan. I've seen all your movies. I think you're one of the greatest. And if it would be possible, I would love to get an autograph. And when I said autograph, I handed the pen and paper to the little kid. and she played right along. She went, "Oh, okay. Absolutely, Mom, no problem." And the look on the parents, George and his wife, was a gift. I was giving them a gift, but it was a gift to me, and it was just great. So whenever I mean, I don't know if I do any of that shit anymore, you know, but I used to do all kinds of little stunts like that. And because how do you break the ice better than with?
Well, yeah, you don't know what to say. I mean, you think whatever you say, it's going to be the wrong thing to say.
Right.
And then your brain just shuts down in a second. I was, Damien Fitz said, "Great story and impression of Hepburn. My favorite impression of Hepburn is in the Philadelphia Story, and she says when she laughs, she goes, "Ah." It was on the other night, and this is for my friend Jeff. It's a "Ah." Why don't you just sell tickets?
Yeah. No,
I wanted to tell you, I'm having dental issues on my bottom teeth. So I have I broke a tooth and I haven't been able to get it fixed. So that's if I'm self-conscious about it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm having tooth problems too.
Yeah.
But you know what? Just put your mouth here. Put your mouth to the camera. Like this. I've been studying dentistry
The picture you got is that
online.
back tooth.
Let me see. Lean back.
I want to get a flipper.
No shit.
Yeah. No, I see what your problem is. You got a left incisor that's a little bit infected.
The cusp with the thing is
Yes,
All right.
yes.
Let me give you some.
Roller with the thing, but I don't know what
I'm giving you some Novocaine.
Over there.
It
could be.
All right, do Paul Lynde. You haven't done Paul Lynde yet. Paul Lynde. I want to see Paul Lynde. Paul Lynde.
Drill, baby,
Paul
drill. You're out with your friend on a boat and he gets eaten by a shark. What do? I'll get another friend.
Oh.
Long time no see, Carl. I love Dante, and you're on Reels on Facebook with your impression of what's his name? What's his name? Who's the guy? Oh my God.
He's a guy.
He'll know. Dante will know.
What guy? What are you talking about?
Oh, he used to
Famous actor, right?
No, famous comedian.
Okay.
Not a
Who
famous
did what? Who did what? Who did what?
Oh, Bobcat Goldthwait.
Oh, okay.
He's on Reels. I see it all the time.
Hey Dante, I sent you the link, so join in and say hi directly.
And
Bobcat,
so much.
Missy Kins says love Carl's Paul Lynde. Gilbert Gottfried. What was it? Gilbert Gottfried?
Yeah.
Well, I
What's
didn't know, but every time I do, it doesn't happen because I do it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's forget Gilbert for the moment.
Yeah.
No, it's okay.
Dante
Do
says hi,
you
Rick.
do my old? Yeah, he says hi, Rick. Dante says hi, Rick. Do you do my old friend Jerry Lewis?
Well, I was doing it for 20 minutes and then you didn't even catch on. Yes, I did. I have good. Okay. One hen, two ducks. One hen, two ducks, three squawking geese. One hen, two ducks, three squawking geese, four limerick oysters. One hen, two ducks, three squawking geese, four limerick oysters, five corpulent porpoises. One hen, two ducks, three squawking geese, four. I can't remember the rest of it.
12 days
All
of
at the
Christmas.
same time.
Yeah.
The
What's
announcer
this
said.
from? What's this from? His version of the 12
It's from
days?
his act. We worked with him in Vegas a lot.
Oh, we got to talk about that a little bit. But we got to do our segment called Nicked. We'll be right back with the great Carl Edwards or Carl Edwards Fitz. What do you like to go by professionally, Carl?
Carl Edwards. Here you go, Mr. Carl. Here I'm Mr. Carl.
All right. Here we go. Nicked. We'll be right back. Nicked is our segment, which we always get a lot of. It seems I always feel like I'm taking a deep dive into the negative swimming pool, Rick. But I realize it's not about that. It's about the fascination with the craft of writing. And one of the things, comedy writing, and one of the things I wanted to mention, I don't want to give it away yet, but I'm up for a gig regarding comedy writing. But anyway, okay. So this show is really about. This segment is really about working original material. What's allowed, what isn't. We often bump elbows in this business with similar ideas. Having come from the music business, there's really no way to register jokes, and if you do, you couldn't prove damage on one joke. And who's to say who came up with something first? And finally, there's always generations. Like if somebody says, "I wrote that joke," they go, "I wrote that joke," and then you go, "Yeah, well, Patty McFullen's, silent film star did it on his radio show in 1931. So we always start this. Ask Carl about his Vegas career. Yeah, I will. Missy Kins, don't. Missy Kins tell
And
me what
Dante
to do is kind of.
Dante's waiting in the wings, but yeah,
Is he here?
Yeah, he's.
Oh, well, let's bring him in on this segment because I think it's important. Please welcome, guys, headlining comedian. He's really great. He's been in business a long time. He gives these great advice to. He has it. I think it's weekly. We'll find out on social media to comics how to act professionally, how to get things done. It's fantastic. He has a management company. He runs a comedy competition. He's been on all kinds of television and stuff, and yet nobody cares. So please welcome. I'm kidding. I care. I made him laugh. Please welcome. We call him Dante because we are dyslexic when we look at his last name.
His last name. Yeah, so.
That's it. Rochatelli. Bring him on. Here he is.
I miss all
Dante.
you guys. Oh my God, I'm so lucky to see you guys.
Yeah, fucking hell.
Brian,
Wow.
I haven't seen you in forever. Carl, I haven't seen you in forever. Luckily, I get to see Steven here and there. Good to see you guys.
You look great, man.
Yes, we're all
Same.
across the world right now. So
Did you help
I
me
know.
move? Did you come to Vegas and help me move?
Sure, I'm there all the time.
But did you, when I moved to Vegas in
Oh,
93?
did I? No, I did not come to Vegas to help you move. But I remember when you moved, you went there to be in was it the Three Stooges show?
Yes, at the Open Gym Gym. Yeah.
Yes. No, I did not. And yeah, I think about both of you very often. Rick,
Oh,
I always I hear your songs playing in my head. I'll if I'm at the store and I see like Philadelphia cream cheese, spread it on my bagel.
oh damn, I completely forgot about that. Yeah, I had all the
There is a slut. She's got a tattoo on her big butt.
Jesus.
What's that parodizing?
That was to the Madonna song "Cherish." Cher is a slut. She got a tattoo on her big butt. So,
all right, so let's get back to our segment. Dante, I'm so glad you joined us because we do need some moral proclivity, some professional advice and opinion on this. This is a segment about comedians who have accidentally or on purpose stolen material. Brian always starts out with a classic example of 3 independent originators. Tell us the story, please.
Well, Carl probably heard all 3 of them at different times because I heard them all in the original room. But in the early 90s, there was a lot of freeway shootings. And at the same time, there was a lot of pit bull attacks. And I remember 3 different comics, very diverse, with the same line of, man, it's really tough here in LA. I'm driving on the freeway the other day. Someone throws a pit bull in my car. And
that's still funny.
Yeah. I'll tell you the 3 comics just to show you how diverse. Blake Clark, Kip Addotta, and Steve Kravitz.
Oh, wow.
So that's quite diverse. Yeah.
But it brings us together. So Dante, let's start with you because yeah, I don't know. But Carl, have you ever...
All right, so let's just start with don't great minds think alike. If someone said to us in a separate room, write a joke about, the border wall, wouldn't we all maybe come up with the joke that Carlos got in trouble with Joe Rogan over, the one about, well, if who's going to build this wall if not Mexicans? You know what I mean? So great minds can think alike, but sometimes, like as we all know, Carlos also stole, where he would come down to La Jolla and watch some of those comics that were Hispanic down there, and then I would see him back in LA doing my friend's material. So we've seen people actually steal, but we also know that we'll have a new joke and then Jay Leno does it and he didn't see us, No,
but one of his writers did.
But yeah,
maybe
that's the thing. I mean, sometimes I'm a terrible writer. I can't write jokes.
We know that, Carl. We don't have a lot of time. You don't have to give us information we already know. Sorry, I'm digging you.
Yeah, I don't.
Go on,
I don't
Carl. Go on, Carl.
Yeah. So
Carl is funny, by the way. I always remember going to a mall with him, and as we were walking through a shoe store, he said to this little girl, he says, "What are you going to be for Halloween?" And she said, "A fairy or a princess." And he goes, "Small world." Patted her on the head and walked away.
I did.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Oh my God. Oh geez. Oh, I'm old, but man, I remember that. Oh my God.
Yeah, that's fun.
I remember that.
Dante's got this incredible memory. I mean, Jesus, you remember?
I'm genius.
You remember bits I only did maybe
raised.
So that
what money?
All right, so we're not going to really Are we gonna dig some dirt? Come on.
I had an idea for a
dish.
movie. I had an idea for a movie one time, and I told the person, and I'm not going to mention any names, and the rest is history. Thank you.
All right, let me pitch you a movie idea, okay? I just came up with. All right. So this guy's an archaeologist back east, right? It's the 1940s. And it's not a comedy. Okay, don't laugh. It's a serious movie. So he's an archaeologist back in the 1940s, and the U.S. government comes, visits him, and wants to send him on a mission to the Middle East to discover an ancient, very important Jewish artifact to use it to fight Hitler. Unfortunately, on the way there, his plane gets stuck on Martha's Vineyard, and they're having shark problems. And since he has a whip, he goes into the ocean and cracks it. Do you see where I'm going with this?
Yes, it's Raiders of the Last Shark.
Raiders of the Last Shark. But anyway, so all right, so we could be glib and say, yeah, sometimes people come up with stuff, but I think it's more. I think honestly, because I get this with Facebook, and I, look, I just like making people laugh, and if people get inspired and then repost something similar like 3 minutes later of something they never would have thought of, I don't care if they think it doesn't bother me. I'm flattered. But I do remember a couple of sketches that ended up on television shows that I wrote and submitted and never got hired. And it's not just about me. It's just, it happens all the time. And ownership, in terms of what we own, there's no way to protect it, right, Dante? You can't protect.
I think when we first started out, there was no way to really protect.
Now there's video, there's
YouTube.
There's time stakes and whatever that thing is.
Yeah, there's timestamps. If you posted it on YouTube in 2003 now or something like that, we didn't have in the 80s and 90s and stuff when we all started. We could have had it on video at our mom's house, but how are you going to prove that to Jay Leno?
I think the only protection you had back then was if you had actually recorded an album that was released by a record company and it was, copyrighted.
But still, let's say
or HBO special, yeah.
All right, let me just give you one scenario. I don't want to beat this to death, but let me give you one scenario. Let's say you're a respected working local comic, and some other comic, perhaps through TikTok, gets a Netflix special, and they're doing a 10-minute chunk that is definitely yours. Okay, you're left with a choice of if it's a bit, especially you're known for, what gets you work, but maybe this big star didn't write it, and one of his writers overheard it. You don't want to create a stink, because then no one's going to want to work with you. As soon as you start, this is a Dante question because he's a manager, a successful one. So, you have to live with a lot of stabs in the gut in this business, because it's a choice, a pragmatic choice of, do I want to make a big stink and be Amber Heard, as it were, and
right.
And then at the end of the day, I'm shitting in my own bed. How about that for a double metaphor? But am I right, Dante?
I don't know what the answer is. I think it's all personal choice, don't you? I think if it's such an important bit that everyone knows it's yours and that they stole it, then maybe you might have to stand up for it. Sort of like people did with Amy Schumer when she was stealing bits from, I forget his name, one of those comics she had worked with that passed away. Anyway, she was taking bits of his and putting it on her specials, and people started calling her out. And her excuse was, oh, well, we wrote together, and since he died, I figure I helped him write that, I could take it.
She's carrying on his legacy. Yes.
Right.
I think Amy Schumer is killing other comics, stealing their material. Thank you.
But I don't know what to say, because you're right. If you have a successful career and you think that, jumping on Netflix and saying, hey, you guys stole my material, I want to sue you and the comedian, is going to hurt your career, then I might advise against it. But if you're a struggling comic who it might help to have that kind of attention, I don't know what to say. It's a personal choice, because it's a scary thing. And are you going to have enough money to fight Amy Schumer and Netflix if that's who it is? You know what I mean? It's tough. But I think that's why a lot of comics were afraid of Carlos Mencia. He had some power, and he was in with Mitzi and all these other things. And it's like you'd see him steal, and then what are you supposed to do? I even saw him steal in front of a guy one time, and the crowd called him out on it because the guy already did his bit. So this guy named Willie Barcina had his own show before Willie sort of got famous, at a Hispanic nightclub I was performing on. And then Carlos got up there and did one of his bits, and the crowd started booing him. And he goes, "What's the problem?" They said, "Oh, that's Willie's joke. He already did it." And Carlos turned to Willie and went, "Well, maybe I've heard you do it before, but I'm taking it now. I'm the one who's on TV. What are you going to do with it? Is that okay, Willie?" And Willie was in so much like, shell shock of seeing a celebrity. He was like, "Of course you can have it." Oh. But if he wasn't famous, would he get away with that? Absolutely not.
That's interesting because
it's a cheap way of doing it. But
the upshot of when Joe Rogan confronted Carlos on stage, they both had the same agent, so the agent dropped Joe Rogan as a result of that. But Rogan's fine. He's
yeah, he'll be fine. But I've seen a lot of people steal. Remember Wild Willie Parsons? He had that bit about, don't you hate when you're stabbing someone and your arm gets tired and then you have to stab him with your left arm? And I've seen 5 other biker guys steal it, and you know that they saw him do it on TV.
Yeah. Yes. I just remember working with a biker comic in Mississippi, not Mississippi, in South Carolina. In South Carolina, had a great name for a comic, Suicide Jimmy. So, I don't know what happened.
You have to be very careful what you say to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to trigger.
Yeah, I have a bit I've been working on because I have my spate of depression and dark thoughts, and it got to the point where I'd be at a party, finally my friend or my girlfriend brings me to a party, having a great time, but I kind of get, I'm bored and I want to leave. So all right, thanks very much for the party. What would I say? I'm out of here, and people go, "No, Steven, don't do it." No, I'm just leaving the party. Don't worry about it. All right, Missy Kins. Do you know this Missy Kins, Carl?
I think I do. I think I think I know who Missy Kins is.
Okay. All right, let's not make this a courtroom drama. Missy Kins says Tiffany Haddish stole Dave Conrad's wife, Ludovica's lazy stripper bit.
Luda is also a regular at the Comedy Store. I know her.
Vika, right? In her Netflix special.
Yeah, I've seen her. Yeah.
Well, I remember.
So what was done about it, Missy Kins?
Yeah.
You remember what, Brian?
I remember when Ludovica was working there, and she was married to Dave Conrad's. I don't know if they still are, but yeah, that was.
Is this Melissa?
Melissa, you stinker.
Hey, Melissa, Missy Kins. What the fuck, Melissa? I love it. Hey, Melissa. Hey, Melissa.
Hi, Melissa.
Hey, don't you guys both live in the same state or something?
Yeah, I was in New Orleans. We were going to have coffee, and my knee was hurting me so bad I couldn't even walk.
Are you in Louisiana?
She's in Louisiana. I'm in Mississippi.
I see.
Mississippi.
And I still feel bad that I didn't just crawl, because she had to go through. I felt really bad.
Are you Jewish, Carl? You don't seem Jewish. You seem like
I'm Catholic. I'm part English. My real father's from England. My real father's English.
You were going to mention this. Your real father's British?
Yes. And
why the hesitation? You don't know if he's your real father?
Well, I know
my real father, is he British?
Ancestry proved everything, man. And I'll tell you that story.
Your real father is British.
Staffordshire. Yes. And he was a victim of the 1914 heat. He had a heat stroke in 1914 during the heat wave in London. And he developed a heart murmur.
Oh my gosh.
How old was he then? It's been about 6 or so. I'm 76, so
you don't look a day over 80.
I feel good. Thank you. That was a compliment. I thought you liked me.
Do some Ruth Gordon. Do some more Ruth Gordon.
Oh, Missy, what? My knee's feeling great. If you're buying, I'll meet you. Come, take off that dress. Your papa will come home and be totally disappointed.
Well, since yeah. Oh,
I got
might as well.
Always funny. Always funny.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh, Mitzi loved Ruth Gordon. That's how I got the job there.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
She loved it, and she told me that. She says
and no one else is doing Ruth Gordon. I mean, you're the best.
No.
You're the only person I know who does it.
I know that's what Bud Court said, and that's what the donkey said. And but we went to Palm Springs when that big earthquake hit, the Landers quake in '92. We were in Palm Springs, and I'm doing Ruth Gordon every 10 minutes. And we were in her yard, and we're playing tennis, and I'm Ruth Gordon playing tennis, and she's screaming. She is screaming. And then I turned on the sprinklers, and just water gushed everywhere. And I'm going, oh, for crying out loud, turn off the water, God damn it.
All right, let me hear a conversation between Ruth Gordon and Paul Lynde.
Okay.
No, let's just Ruth Gordon and Paul Lynde. I think that's enough. Ruth Gordon, Paul Lynde, and the scenario is, Dante, give a scenario for it, would you?
Ruth Gordon and Paul Lynde, they want to go on an African safari.
Very perfect. Ruth Gordon and Paul Lynde on an African safari. Here you go, Carl.
They use a cliche in this.
Well, how about the African Queen?
Oh yeah! Oh my God! Oh, I'm going to steal something because it's Louise Duarte's, and she. Okay. Ruth Gordon and
a drum roll.
and
Ruth
Paul
Gordon
Lynde.
and Paul Lynde in the African Queen. Instead of Humphrey Bogart, it's Paul Lynde. Instead of Katharine Hepburn, who previously aforementioned, it's Ruth Gordon.
Oh, I fell in the water. Can't believe I fell in the water. And there's alligators everywhere. Look at that. Look at this all over my body. Oh my God, I got leeches all over my body. Oh, she loves me, Nadia. Loves me.
Brilliant. Bravo, man. So funny.
Bravo.
There's runners in anywhere.
That may be the biggest.
That's how I got improv. Brian Bradley was on the floor. I know
Brian Bradley.
Oh my God!
Always on the floor for some reason.
No.
I know.
Oh, I love it. Brian gave me a mirror that was up in the cottage, and I still don't have it back. I'm gonna call Michael Becker one of these days and find out what happened to him.
We've had him on the show.
Gentlemen,
what happened
I love
to
all
Brian?
of you, but I have a doctor's appointment. I have to go. Nothing's wrong with me. It's just a checkup.
He's also a doctor. He's a manager. He's a comic. He's also a doctor.
I love all three.
Thank you very much, Don. We love all you too.
Dante,
let's have you on the show again.
Dante, all the love in the world.
Thank you, Dante.
Bye, guys.
You're my hero. Be good.
All
right, this is fun. This is
my hero.
I'm relaxed now. Now that people know I got no teeth in them. All
right, we got another pub quiz. We got two more pub quizzes. We have 20 minutes left. Let's do another pub quiz. Here we go. Pub quiz. What's the score, including Dante's?
One.
And by the way, Melissa, you can play as well if you want.
One for Dante and one for Damien. Okay. The question is, celebrity couples.
Celebrity couples.
Okay. James Brolin has been the husband of whom for 25 years?
Oh,
Barbra Streisand.
Let me see. Hold on.
I've already answered it.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, you were going to go into a Streisand impression. Okay.
Okay.
I got a funny story. I got a funny story for you. I'm working at the plant shop, and some lady comes in as we're closing, and I had to be at the Comedy Store in Westwood that night. Okay, so she picks out these palm plants and she says, could you deliver it to my house? Could you deliver it to my house? I said, well, I can't do it today. I have to. Oh, she says, I really have to get back. Just on Beverly Boulevard, and it's it'd be really important if I could. And I said, yes, I will. So I wrapped them all up and I put them in the thing. And then she says, can you take me home? Can you drive me home? She says, somebody dropped me off here. And she was like really cagey. So I take her to and I get to this apartment and I carried the plants up in the driveway. And she says, could you help me take them in the apartment? And I'm just like, if I had a watch, I would have been looking at it. And I'm looking at it thinking, I'm so late. And I walk into the apartment. She said, could you put one plant over there and then put another plant? Little lady. And I look up and I'm going, just familiar. And I look over the fireplace and there's Barbara Streisand's portrait from Funny Girl. It's her mother. It was her mother.
Oh, it was her mother. Okay. I thought you were going to say Barbara Streisand was in the house.
Yeah, me too.
She might have been. I wish she. Oh, she was. She was in the kitchen.
Quiz. Let's get back to order here. Order in the court. Order in the court. Order in the court. Back to the pub.
I'll have a ham sandwich.
Planets.
You are a ham sandwich. You are a ham sandwich.
Here's an astronomy question.
Question number 2.
Okay.
What planet is the second smallest?
My penis. My penis.
That's Trump.
That's Uranus.
Oh, stop it.
I'm a million miles.
What planet?
Most of the planets aren't really planets. They're just gaseous masses.
They're changing all the time.
There's 8 that are still certified as planets.
Yeah.
So
I'm certified.
No, we don't want to mess the moon up, so we hit a ring. Okay, good.
I'd say the smallest planet is Mercury.
Well, the smallest planet is Mercury, but what is the second smallest?
You changing the question because I got it right?
No, because I said, what is the second smallest planet? That was where I started with this question.
All right, Venus. Venus is the second smallest planet.
Venus is not. No.
Venus. Pluto.
Venus.
Depends what universe you're in.
Venus is the third smallest planet.
How about?
I give up.
It's Mars. So
Mars, yeah.
Yes.
Mars bar, yeah.
Hang on.
What famous woman did you perform with?
Yeah. What famous woman did you perform with? You were just telling me stories about.
Well, I think she's asking about Ruth Gordon.
No.
Yeah, Ruth Gordon. Yeah. And Damien says Planet Hollywood. Very funny. All right. Next question.
Am I right?
Okay, let's try this one. A Trump question.
Oh boy.
Trump last weekend retweeted a series of posters falsely claiming that what celebrity has endorsed him?
Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift is the right answer. Stephen now moves into the lead. So, okay. Cartoons. What all-purpose company is constantly patronized by Wile E. Coyote?
Acme.
Acme. Ooh, Stephen's on a roll.
Whoa.
So it's
Acme, back east.
All righty. Actually, yeah, I need to save some for the next.
All right, but Mr. Kins, what are you saying no to? And then there's then she's an LOL. But going back to your no, Mr. Kins, what are you saying no to? What does this refer to? All right, back to our exciting interview with Ruth Gordon, Paul Lind, Misty Shore, and special guest Carl Edwards. And who?
And Katharine Hepburn.
So, Carl, what is it about you truly have great talents, but what is it about your impressions? How do you approach it? Seriously, I don't want to sound dry, but but too intellectual. But you have an emotion just spot on. You have the rhythm spot on. You have the voice spot on. You have the physicality. You have the logic of thinking. Do you think in terms of like the lists? I got to have this. I got to have that. I got to have that. Or do you just instinctively put it on like a second skin? How do you do it, man? It's really amazing.
Well, when I was a kid, I would be at school and I would tell stories.
All right, quit talking about yourself. That's all you ever do.
Well, you asked me a question. I'm gonna.
I know that's my joke. Carry on, though. I mean, it's a real question. Come on.
He's being a dick. It's his job.
Everybody is born a mom and a dad, and you have there's a little bit of each person in you, and then like the voices. It's like hey, Bob Hope, I'll tell you this is wild, I don't know. I really haven't figured it out, but I would get more laughs in school if I did the voice of the person. I would watch Andy Maybury, and then Gomer Pyle would do something, and I tried to tell the story. But if I didn't do Gomer Pyle, it would make the golly just going down there. Aunt B's going down there. She's going to get you. Oh my golly. Hi there. Hi, Gomer. Hi, Goober. You know, so it was, I got more laughs when I did the voice, but I don't know. How do you learn how to, like, you know, English? How do you speak English?
Well, I mean, I have answers for that. It's like I do a lot of voiceovers, and I audition for more than I get the job. So, but auditions help you practice for when you do get the gig. And I have a step process that I extrapolated from all my experience, and it starts with understanding the script and understanding keywords, and then what character they want, and seeing my own limitations, and then finding a musicality to the voice, because a tempo, but a melody. So when I did a movie trailer for British radio for Drew Barrymore film, so I'm gonna put my hand up and down to explain or illustrate how I see the pitch as a song. So the voiceover was, in a town that was all about luck, they had to risk it all to win it all. Eric Bana, Drew Barrymore, lucky you. So it has sort of a pitch, and you don't hear it, but I hear the song in my head, and the idea is to disguise the song so you're not singing it, and that's part of it. And so, in other words, I have an intellectual checklist of what I need to do to make an audition as good as they can do it, or a job as good as they want me to do it.
Right.
And direction, of course, always helps. But when, we're solo performers for the most part on stage. Now, you did one of the Three Stooges in Vegas, is that right?
Yeah, I played the mad scientist. I played the guy that was, I was.
But in what? In cabaret called?
It was a takeoff on the Three Stooge, a half hour. It was like one of the serials. Fred Mock was the producer, and then let me see.
Was there there were three major actors playing the Three Stooges?
No, they were just actors. We just actors. One was Mo Howard's grandson.
Okay.
And then we had, who else was in it? Oh my gosh, I wish I remember I wish I'd done my homework on this one. But we did it, and they had the wigs and the whole thing. I can't. Let me see. Hold on.
Thinking of that Three Stooges.
I was the evil villain,
okay.
And I was going to take the brain of Curly and give it to the chimpanzee that's in the cage.
So maybe you were playing the parts that were played by Vernon Dent in the original.
But could you do that? And I can't. I get a cut around here, and then it's messy. It's just messy.
Yeah. How long you do that show then?
I did it for 3 years until Mo Howard, till Larry Fine's family. It was a legal thing. So
Larry Fine's family put an end to it.
It's something. Yeah.
Do you? It seems to me like when celebrities are alive, they're like, "Hey, it's okay. These kids are doing something in my honor," and the family comes in and goes, "No."
No.
Yeah, that's kind of what happened with with Trump using "Hold On, I'm Coming" for his rallies, and the estate of Isaac Hayes was the people that raised a fuss, and
because Trump's a racist.
Yeah, but yes, I'm looking at my picture round from last week was just pictures of famous people, famous musicians who have given Trump a cease and desist order, and there's a nice variety, But then I always have an odd one out, so I put Kanye West as the odd one out.
Odd woman, yeah. Well, Trump doesn't follow orders. Let's not sully our pristine, tasteful comedy discussion with the mention of the Evil Dead.
You don't go to politics. That's right.
Let's not. Well, politics. I like Kamala. Kamala, 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 Kamalian.
Come and go.
I'm trying to think of a woman that I worked with that I was telling stories about.
Oh, well, maybe she's gone. Melissa, Mr. Kins, Carl's being vexed by.
Do you remember the person? What was I saying about her?
She probably got into her $100,000 Rover and is going to go pick up turnips.
Yeah.
Oh wait, she's back. Share.
Did you ever do Share?
I could never Share.
Or Celine. No,
Celine.
My old partner, we did. She did Cher impression for Gene Simmons when Gene Simmons was dating Cher.
Wow.
That was when we were in New York.
I was at a party. Sorry, go on. I was jumping. My memory was blocking my rudeness. I mean,
this was just Gene Simmons was dating Cher at the time, and so he brought Chastity when she was Chastity. She was about 11 at the time.
Right.
And they came to the show. We were opening for Robin, and so, but Robin was being besieged by the media and so on. So Gene Simmons came to our dressing room and hung out with us, but they got there too late for where Ruby did the impression of Cher. So he said, "Well, I demand a command performance, in your dressing room now." So
I think Mary, I think that's so. Carry on with the story.
So anyway. Both he and Chastity thought it was funny because you were singing her hit song "Half Breed." Only the chorus was "half wit." That's all I ever heard. Half wit. The girl is such a nerd, and that was enough for him. It's a shame he is who he is. Who he turned out to be, but he was.
Yeah.
He had a great sense of humor. I'll say that. And Chastity was kind of going like, "Yeah, that's my mom." So.
I love it. We got a couple of competing messages. So Marianne Bafford is saying, was it when you mentioned Carl Louise Duart? No, I guess that question would go to Mr. Kins.
Yes.
I was telling a story about somebody, and I can't remember the person.
Was it Louise Duart?
Like tomorrow.
Okay, well,
we don't have to
show tomorrow. Well, you can always comment. We got enough time for another pub quiz in a few minutes. Before we get to that pub quiz, I want to talk to everyone about the Lord. If I can just get a little focus here.
The Lord
doesn't work. The Lord,
That's
yeah. Me. Wait a minute. This is fucked up. No, I'm just fucking around. Eggs full screen. So are you Carl? Are you doing any comedy locally? You're running a room, or what are you doing? Anything like that?
No, not really. No, I'm not. I'm retired.
Good answer. Yeah.
But I've got some health issues. I've got a little AFibs and some things like that, and just old stuff that older men would have. Nothing.
Oh, excuse me.
Below the waist. Never.
All right, let's do our final pub quiz. But I personally request.
I might start again. Now this has been so much fun. You have no idea how much this meant to me. I mean,
I'm glad to hear that.
Oh, it's great to see you, man.
I mean, it's great to see you because Stephen, I remember you at the store. You were you were one of my favorite people because you were always cool. No matter what was going on, you were always cool, and you were always really cool with me.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate it. So what you said last week is usually, and I enjoyed you, Mr. Rick.
Well, I enjoyed.
Huh?
I was just going to reciprocate the compliment sincerely. When I come to the store and I'd see you, and it just reminded me that it's about having fun on stage, and that's what I try. That's what I got out of it, was having fun on stage. Damien chimes in here. I hope he starts again. Absolutely, Carl is outstanding. Let's do. It's 8 hours later in London, so Brian's got to go to Betty Bye soon. So let's do our last pub quiz, and then Brian, remind us of the score.
It is Stephen 3 and Carl 1, and Damien.
Not that I needed to mention it, but I could.
I think it's a
Did I ever mention? Did I ever mention that I sew homemade ashtrays? We'll talk about that. All right, let's do our pub quiz. The score is I don't know what it is. Doesn't matter.
Damien, it's Carl 3, Stephen 1, Damien 1. And
Stephen 3, Carl 1.
Kathy Gunderson says Betty bye. Okay.
Oh, good night, Kathy. God bless you, sweetheart.
Okay.
I love the Kathy Gunderson.
All right. So,
all right.
Languages. In which island
Languages.
nation is the language Tagalog spoken? It's the main language of this particular. It's a big country. Asian.
Asian country.
It's an Asian country.
Is it the main language or a big language?
It's the main language.
So it wouldn't be Australia.
No, but it's near there. It's in that part of the world. But it is Southern Asia.
I don't know what that means, Kathy. Oh, Betty by me.
To you. Okay. Well, the country is the Philippines. Nice guess. New Zealand.
Right. Yeah, good one, Craig, but didn't happen. All right.
Okay, let's
Next
try
question. Damien got it. But Damien got it.
But he got it after I said it, so it doesn't count. Literature. What was the name for the series of George R.R. Martin books out of which came Game of Thrones? Was the first in this series. What was the series of books where Game of Thrones was the first one?
The Iron Throne.
Ooh, you're getting there. It's total. It's 6 words.
The brass dildo. 6 words.
6
brass
words.
dildo.
I watched
that on.
I've watched it twice on HBO.
Bobby
Okay.
Ludington says, "Hi, Carl. Hi, guys. Hey, Bobby Ludington. What's the answer?"
Oh, Bobby. Okay. Hey, Bobby. I was just thinking of him. Hey, Bobby.
The name was A Song of Ice and Fire.
Song of Ice and Fire.
You know,
All right, more questions. Give us better questions, ones we know the answers to.
Okay, here's a good one that I'm saving for next time I do it, which is not for in a couple weeks, but because I'm going away this coming week.
Oh, by the way, because we got no one booked next week. There's no show next week.
There's no show next week because I'm going to be on holiday.
Okay, good. Then that takes care of that. Where are you going?
We're going to St. Ives in Cornwall. It's on the Atlantic coast. So this all right. What 2 actors won Oscars in the 1970s, one for Best Lead and the other for Best Supporting, playing the same character? And they're both in the 1970s.
I want to hear the question again, please.
What 2 actors won Oscars playing the same character in 2 different movies? One for Best Actor and one for Best Supporting. Big movies. And both of those movies won for Best Picture.
That's a really interesting question. In the late 70s?
They're just in the 70s, kind of early to mid.
Was one Lawrence of Arabia one of the movies?
No, that was 50s or 60s.
Is that 50s? Oh my God.
We got it. I think Melissa's got it.
Yep. Craig Harmon's got it. Robert De Niro and Marlon Brando.
There you go.
So, yeah, I love that
question. Melissa posted first, but
yeah, she said whatever. Godfather, but so she was on the right track. And then, but Craig Harmon said the names of the actors. So,
all right, Craig wins on that point. All right, a couple of more questions, then you got to go.
Well, we got 1 more minute, so I think we're done for quizzing. So,
okay, Mr. Exact.
Stephen wins tonight.
I did.
You did win tonight.
I haven't won in a dog's age.
I know. So, and I thought Carl was going to massacre you. So,
well,
anyway.
He did in certain ways.
I did.
I got to bring my beard in. I got to bring my beard in or something. It looked too weird. Kathy, we love Kathy Gunderson. Thank you, giving us exclamation points. I want to thank Craig Harmon, Bobby Ludington, Missy Kins, otherwise known as Melissa Carey, Teresa Scavette.
Kathy Gunderson's asking, who's the oldest comedian alive?
Who's asking that? Gunderson?
Yeah.
Kathy Gunderson.
Who's the oldest comedian alive?
Well,
Kathy
she was in
Gunderson.
Fargo. Kathy Gunderson was in Fargo.
No,
She's
I don't-
oldest
related
comedian
to
alive?
somebody from the Comedy Store.
yeah, it was
Is she?
Bob Newhart until a few weeks
Randy
ago.
Gunderson, the Comedy Store had Randy Gunderson as the videographer guy.
Randy Gunderson.
Kathy, are you
related
related
to
to Randy
Randy?
Gunderson? Gunderson is like Smith if you're in that part of the country.
I saw that name and I'm like, oh my God. It just like, that's why I got so quiet.
What was I talking about?
Well, I think we're saying goodnight, and
I was thanking everybody.
Thank our guests. Yes,
Carl, I just wanted to. I think you're so talented and such a great person, and so in your positivity and your exuberance is infectious, and we here at Comedy Dish, are proud of you. And Damien says, please bring back Carl again. Well, we would have listened to Damien.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. If he didn't make the suggestion, but I don't listen to him.
You would have. See, stealing his material.
Yep.
We think you're absolutely wonderful. We love you. I'll get an offer from Missy Kins.
Call me Missy Kins.
Thank you, Carl. Thanks, audience. We'll see you.
Thank you, guys.
Let
me tell you something. I appreciate this so much. This is exactly what I needed.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like a blood transfusion.
It's been great for me too. I'm seeing people that don't come over to this side of the pond, so it's it's
and
great.
Dante, let's not forget to thank Dante.
Yes.
Dante.
I will, and then Kathy says,
you
won't Stephen thank you? Won, Stephen. Thank you, all three of you. Thank you, Kathy. God bless y'all, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you in 2 weeks. One more comment. I keep getting these comments.
I'm going back to the home. I'm going.
Have it next week anyway. Can I have the show without you, Rick?
If you want to, if I think of it, I mean, I'm going to have
a guest host
there. So
you get a guest host.
If Maggie and I are staying in an apartment, so if you get a guest and
wait a minute, aren't you have Wi-Fi where you are? Don't you have a laptop you take with you?
Well, yeah, we will have Wi-Fi. So
what are you making love?
Just I want to do that when maybe Maggie would join me. You actually get to talk to her, but
the mysterious Maggie, absolutely. And Bobby says with Mitzi.
Bobby, thank you for going. Bobby was in that earthquake that we had in '92. Bobby was with Mitzi and I. At the condo.
I was in New York when that
happened. He slept through it, and she slept through it.
No.
And I was staying in Paulie's room, and everything. Yeah, I remember that, Bobby. And then we went over to the Mexican restaurant and watched everybody straighten the pictures.
And with that, we're going to say good night, everybody. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you in 2 weeks or maybe next week. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
It's Comedy Dish.
Co-starring Rick Wright and